A lot of things in travel have changed as a result of the pandemic, and while yes, many things have gotten worse, that hasn't necessarily been the case with all-inclusive resorts. Hi guys, Vanessa here, and welcome to Passport Pages. And in today's video, we're looking at how all-inclusive resorts have actually improved and gotten better throughout the pandemic, and all the ways in which you'll now get a better overall experience for your money. So let's jump right in. Dining has changed, so it's not a secret that most all-inclusive resorts, regardless of their size, usually offer a couple of buffets as dining options, especially the mega resorts. But since the pandemic began, many of these buffet options have disappeared from resorts, due in large part to fear of cross-contamination and spreading of germs. Now, right away, some of you might say, well, how is that good? Fewer options now, plus the quantity of food is that much less. And while yes, that might be true, let's be honest, when you're on vacation, it's just nice to sit back and relax and enjoy a sit-down full-service restaurant. And there's no question that the quality of food at a la carte dining options is much better in general. So will buffets return to all-inclusives in the future? Possibly not, from what I've been seeing and hearing. And interestingly, the buffets that have returned are not even close to being as generous as they once were, with far fewer options and even amounts of food as well. So rather than see this change as a negative, I think it's a good change, with many new and improved menus at a la cartes, and even new full-service dining options at many all-inclusives. So a great new change, which I personally hope continues into the future. Cleaning procedures. My personal favorite resort change from the pandemic. I've actually been surprised, shocked even, with how seriously these brands and resorts have taken disinfecting procedures to mitigate spread around their properties. The entire travel industry has really done a complete overhaul of their hygiene practices, which makes you wonder what they were before, but no matter what resort site or video you look at within the past couple of years, everyone has clear directives and even visuals of their new and updated cleaning practices, from electrostatic sprayers to new hospital-grade cleaning products with tape around every inch of your room and common areas designating what's been disinfected before your arrival. You'll still see many hand sanitizer stations sprinkled throughout resort grounds, and some all-inclusives have even gone as far as wrapping utensils in single-use plastic. Not great for the environment, but definitely gives peace of mind. So if you have any concerns about having a safe getaway, rest assured that these brands have gone above and beyond to give guests a safe stay. And as a medical professional, I've been very impressed and really hope this is one travel change from the pandemic that sticks around for good. Cancellation policies are more flexible. Probably the most universally popular change for resorts, because the biggest complaint I saw on my channel before the pandemic was how strict most of these bigger chain all-inclusives were about date changes and, God forbid, cancellations, because barring a coroner's note, you really couldn't get refunds. Definitely not full refunds if you had to miss your vacation, even for pretty serious unforeseeable circumstances, which is why I'd always urge you guys to get travel insurance. But now, since the pandemic, most all-inclusive brands have had to really change those old policies and become more flexible overall, with many locations allowing cancellations up to 24 hours in advance with no extra charges or cancellation fees. I've seen many of these all-inclusives put dates on their sites stating when this perk will end, and for the most part, they've all extended them several times as the pandemic has continued to one extent or another. And no, I definitely don't think this will be one of the pandemic changes that will continue indefinitely, as they have too much to lose by continuing to do so. But while this gift continues for now, I'd say definitely try to take advantage of it, especially if you see a special all-inclusive rate or package, book it. And if you change your mind later, no big deal. but my husband and I have personally canceled and rebooked several all-inclusive vacations during the pandemic with no consequences, and it's so nice to have that flexibility, even if just for a little while. Fewer guests. Most all-inclusives have yet to get back to full capacity, in some cases due to people just not traveling internationally yet, and in other cases due to the resorts themselves limiting capacity. We've seen most properties increase capacity in stages throughout the pandemic, sometimes increasing and then decreasing again. It got pretty crazy, but most began with as little as 25% capacity, then increasing to 50%, and eventually 75%, which is where most resorts are currently. Yes, some have returned to full capacity, but generally speaking, most remain at 75%. And while yes, that does have its drawbacks, especially in terms of booking and finding availability, since properties get to capacity a lot quicker, it also has a lot of positives, which, if you can and you feel comfortable with, you should try to take advantage of. I know some guests like the crowds and more of a social atmosphere, but if you're anything like us and enjoy a more laid-back and quiet vibe, this is a really good time to take advantage of that reduced capacity, with restaurants, pools, and beaches pretty much to yourself. And as things start to get back to normal, this will definitely be the first thing to go, as resorts have already lost an incredible amount of money. And of course, many resorts have the added bonus of reduced rates and specials as well. So get in there and take advantage of that while you still can. More location options. I will be putting up my annual video in the beginning of 2022 showing all the new all-inclusive resorts that will be opening in the new year. But many brands were quite diligent in the downtime during the pandemic and used the time to focus on acquiring and building new properties, and in many cases, updating and doing complete renovations of current locations. The other big thing that happened was a lot of hotel brands used this disastrous time for the hospitality industry to buy other competing properties that were in trouble. So many all-inclusives may have new style, policies, and management in the near future. So while yes, many beloved resorts have permanently closed, I've had to revise many a review over the past 2 years because some wonderful resorts are just shuttered and have yet to reopen. But for now, I want to highlight that a lot of good things happened in the industry as well. And while I'm going to wait till my video to give you specific examples, I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised next year with what's new in the all-inclusive space. Distancing, which is another way of saying a lot more personal space when you stay at an all-inclusive, especially compared to pre-pandemic days. You'll see spread out tables and dining locations and loungers around pools and on the beach, and we'll just have a lot more space between you and other guests. And probably the best part is no more leaving towels on loungers to save a spot, as pretty much everyone gets a prime seat, which is a welcome change. Now, we've traveled both in 2020 and 2021, and there's definitely been a lessening this year in terms of the strictness of distancing at many properties. Chairs and loungers are definitely closer together than they were in 2020. I wouldn't say back to normal, but definitely closer than before. But of course, if you don't feel comfortable being that close to other guests, we've moved our spots and even seating to make more space around us, and management has always been very understanding under the current circumstances. I do think this will be another pandemic perk that will be gone pretty soon, because packing guests in closer together means more money. And of course, these resorts have lost quite a bit already. So if you like having more personal space on vacation, this is another change that I'd suggest you take advantage of soon, because I highly doubt this will stick around as a permanent policy in the future. So there you have some positive resort changes that have come about as a result of the pandemic. And I'm curious to know which changes you've noticed when traveling that you've been happy about, and if you'd like those changes to stick around in the future. And do you feel more comfortable traveling now, or would you like to wait a while longer? That'd be really helpful for everyone if you'd share your feedback on where you guys stand with that. This is Vanessa for Passport Pages. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.